Hello and welcome to the Info Assault. Currently we are live on just YouTube. This is Sandy from the Green Team, aka kushmarthealthdispensary.ca. My name is Thomas James Rorels Carpenter and we are currently on www.justfem.ca. So we are still getting everything completely set up here. We're about to go live on radio as well. And we're going to be trying to share this onto Facebook. So, first off, we're going to need to stop some of the music that you guys are enjoying on the live radio, unfortunately. And welcome online. My name is Thomas James Rorels Carpenter, and this is www.justfem.ca. We are live currently with Sandy from... Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Sandy Smith from the Green Team, aka Kushmarth Dispensary.
Excellent, excellent. Fantastic. So what, I mean, there's a whole lot of words there. What is that? And I'm sure everybody is very curious about your t-shirt. I love it, by the way. It's fantastic. That's a great t-shirt.
Thank you.
Support the cause. Well, what can you tell us about this particular kushmarthealthdispensary.ca and what you're doing in town here? What's that about?
Oh, we're here to basically take people off their prescriptions, help them out, give them a better life. And the dispensary's probably got the best weed in the world. And we're about product and all about product.
That is fantastic. So I mean, that sounds like a bold claim. You're trying to take people off prescriptions. Is this just generally speaking anybody, or how are we trying to identify who your target is?
Anybody basically that has health problems.
Okay.
So you're dealing with anybody with pains or whatever. There's no side effects on this except having a good day.
Excellent, excellent. So, how long have we been doing this in town here? What exactly? Yeah, how long have we been operating, or have you been operating?
We've been operating the Green Team for a month now in town here. Down on it's 317 7th Street. We have a doctor in on Saturday between 3 and 6. He's a Skype doctor. He's probably the best doctor knowing out there. And yeah, he's probably the best doctor you'll ever meet.
Fantastic. So, you've actually got a doctor on staff.
Yeah, he's a Skype doctor.
A Skype doctor. So what exactly does that mean? What's the difference between a Skype doctor and just any other type of physician or?
Well, this doctor will Skype with you, and he tells you basically how to get off of your prescriptions. It might take you a little time, but you will be off them, having a better, healthy life. And yeah, he's out of Nelson, BC, so he's been around it, and he's the man.
Excellent. So it sounds like you've got some professional experience going on to try to guide people into why you're doing this here. I mean, some people might be kind of shocked at the prospect. So you're selling marijuana.
Basically online, yes.
So how does that work? Like, why would you consider that a good thing?
Well, that'll take everybody off of prescription meds. That'll take everybody with these side effects that are getting worse side effects. Mm-hmm. And it'll make everybody a happier place to become. And it'll take away the methadone problem.
That is a very strong statement. I mean, when you think about it, there's a lot of people that are on prescriptions. I mean, personally, I know many people in my life that are, I don't know if dependent is necessarily the word, but they do use prescription medication on a daily basis for something or another. What types of medications are you talking about?
Like any kind of medications. It kills cancer. Basically kills anything you need to kill.
Okay, so do you think there would be? You mentioned methadone. Methadone is kind of like a heroin substitute, or what is that?
Yeah, it's just a doctor's way of getting you high on a legal drug.
So, I mean, why would they give it to you ever?
because they want to make money the rest of their lives.
Okay, so I mean,
pain relief.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and you think that people would stop using it if they did what you're doing?
For sure.
So how does that work? You think that marijuana is something that could be substituted for methadone? I mean, methadone is a pretty hardcore addictive drug. It's a pretty hardcore drug, and you're saying that marijuana would be a suitable substitute for this?
For sure.
So are you going to have the same types of negative reactions to marijuana that you would with methadone, or do you have the same positive reactions as well? Let's just maybe consider it for the pain relief. The reason that people are using methadone is pain relief, obviously, hopefully. But what do you think the differences might be between the reactions?
The reactions would be that you're going to have a good day. You're not going to be having a hazy day.
Fair enough. So you'd say that methadone gives you more or less of a hazy day then?
I've never been on it, and I'm not a doctor, but facts show that this curves the methadone.
Fair enough. That is a very fair statement, actually. I have seen the research myself where marijuana is used to not only substitute for the pain relief side of methadone, but when people are addicted, they actually use marijuana as treatment for the addiction to methadone. So it actually helps get them off of it. So that could be like a multifaceted, use, I suppose. Now, there's a lot of reasons that people might be in pain. I know that there's a lot of people in Lethbridge, every time the weather changes or the wind starts blowing, there's a lot of older people around here. They have a lot of arthritis, they have a lot of joint, muscle, and movement pain, and just generally speaking, it's there's a lot of dryness and inflammation and stuff like that in your joints and your muscles. And like, do you know anything about like joint and muscle issues? And I mean, my family has definitely got some. They feel it when the weather changes. What do you know about that, man?
Oh, I know that I've had no skin or muscle on my arms, so
wow.
Where I am today, 300 pounds, is good to go.
That's wow. What I mean, now that you're pointing this out, what am I looking at here? What is this?
That's severe burns.
Wow.
That's bones and skin and muscle. That's why I met my doctor 2 years ago, and he's changed my life. But before that, they wanted me on methadone. Well, not methadone, sorry. They wanted me on, tip my tongue right now, but...
morphine or some
morphine,
other...
sorry.
No, absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, this... you probably can't see exactly what I'm noticing, but there's some substantial... it looks like it was very, very painful at the time, whatever happened. And I'm assuming that marijuana has been what you would credit as how you've overcome that.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, a guy in my place would be a little skinny guy. He'd be on morphine. He would never get anywhere. Myself, I went to buy a business to build my muscles and get into this position.
Fair enough, fair enough. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So, I mean, there's just, it sounds like you've got a lot of really good background. Why did you get into this this type of a business or industry?
I actually got in it because of my dad. My dad had kidney cancer in one kidney. So the next thing you know, they removed that kidney.
My mom had the exact same thing, actually.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
And then 6 months to a year later, he went back. They said he had it in his other kidney.
Oh, man.
And his lip.
Oh, man.
So anyway, he went back, watched Rick Simpson's video, and saved himself. And here I am today.
Wow. So what was Rick Simpson's video, for those who don't know?
It's basically on how to cure yourself on cancer or whatever pain. So yeah, he'll cure you whatever ails you, and it's Rick Simpson, and he's cured over 50,000 people. So that's what he's all about.
Fantastic, man. So I assume he uses marijuana as well, then, or what does he do?
Yes, but marijuana, you can actually, digesting marijuana is better for you than smoking it, unless you have like sleeping or eating. Like I say, I'm not a doctor, but digesting it is way better in most people's opinions.
Digesting, interesting. So, I mean, just thinking about it naturally, smoke is not supposed to be what you breathe. You know, you shouldn't smoke cigarettes, you shouldn't smoke campfires, you shouldn't breathe smoke. You know, in a burning building, you don't die from the fire, you die from breathing smoke. So you're saying that if you eat marijuana, that would be healthier for you than smoke. And what's the differences between those two?
When you eat it, it goes through 70% of your body. When you smoke it, it don't.
Okay.
So basically, when you eat that, you'll be able to last all day in comfort zone.
That's absolutely true. I mean, I know that when you actually do, you breathe something in, the time for it to metabolize in your body is substantially faster than if you were to ingest something, or you know the differences between just straight into your veins as well. Obviously, it's much faster if you go right into your veins somehow. So if you're looking for long-lasting relief, eating something that's going to last, you know, slow release over a long period of time, and that's going to, just generally speaking, alleviate body pain.
Everything you got dealing with your problems. To actually cure cancer, it takes 60 grams in 45 days. The only way you'll ever do that is eating it or digesting it through the back passage.
So you're saying 60 grams of marijuana in 45 days
Will kill cancer.
Wow. How does that work?
THC and CBD and CBN concentrate on it, and I guess it eats cancer cells.
Crazy. Well, I mean, like I said, man, I've got a ton of this stuff here that I've been looking at too, and it's got some crazy characteristics. One of the things that I was noticing that was posted on your Facebook site there, on what's the name of your Facebook site? You want to give some self-promotion? Plug yourself in a couple times here, man.
It's called the Green Team.
The Green Team.
Yeah.
The Green Team. Excellent.
Yeah.
And so, on the Green Team, I saw this nifty little picture here. Now, you probably can't see this very well, but this says the human endocannabinoid system. And what we're talking about here is CBD, CBN, and THC. Now, naturally in your body, you've got these receptors all over which are designed to receive these particular chemicals, and they're throughout your entire body.
Yeah.
So does that have something to do with why, when you can consume marijuana and you digest it, when it goes through your whole body, you feel it everywhere? It's designed to actually be absorbed into all parts of your body, is because of these endocannabinoid.
Yeah, your receptors. Yeah.
Perfect. So if you're curious, definitely look it up, the endocannabinoid system. It exists. It is... You have it, and it is designed to process marijuana. Specifically, it also helps with other processing things, but it is designed specifically to process marijuana. It seems pretty odd that we're designed with this built-in system. Now, another interesting thing about marijuana versus literally just about everything else on the planet, and I'm talking like caffeine, sugar, water. You have too much of it, and you will die.
Yeah.
You drink too much water, you die. You smoke too many cigarettes, you die. You eat too much of something, you die. Can you die from marijuana other than a 100-pound brick of it hitting you in the head and killing you?
Well, it falls out the sky, that's it.
It's incredible. Your body is so capable of processing marijuana that you cannot kill yourself. There is no limit. You could try, and you wouldn't be able to. You'll
go to sleep first.
Yeah, exactly. That's what'll happen. If you're smoking it, or eating it, actually, either way. But if you're smoking it, you'll fall asleep a lot faster not even because of the marijuana, but because the smoke is going to line your lungs and you're going to just not get enough oxygen for a minute and you'll pass out and stop smoking and then you'll wake up.
Yeah.
Unless you've got some type of other allergy or medical medical anything really specific to it. But average, everyday people. This is just regular people. Now, I was checking out some more of your posts, or some posts that I saw, which seemed really, really descriptive. They were quite accurate, and I liked how they were describing how some of this worked. Now, marijuana is broken down into many different subsections. Like I was just mentioning a little bit earlier, the CBD, CBN, and THC. But it's actually broken down a little bit more than that even. There's so many different strains, there's so many different types, and the quality and what it does and where it reacts. You really need to do a little bit of research, but they all have these same characteristics in different levels, essentially, if I'm understanding this right. So what this says, this is a little chart about cannabinoids. The cannabinoid endocannabinoid system that I was mentioning just here. Here are the cannabinoids. So this is what is inherently inside of marijuana. Now, THC, right at the bottom here. We're going to start with that. That's what everybody hears about. You know, you hear marijuana, THC. What can you tell us just really basically about THC?
THC is actually what kills cancer.
Fantastic. So I mean, if I'm looking at the real simple chart here, and this again, very simple, just to kind of give you a basic idea of what it does. THC stands for tetrahydrocannabinol. Now, some of the basic characteristics of this is it is a psychoactive agent. It is one of the only psychoactive agents in marijuana. It does have a calming effect, and it also has pain-relieving effects. So this is great. That's just basic. You don't want to get this too cluttered here. Now, there's also THCV, which is slightly different. This one is called tetrahydrocannabivarin. You can look this up. Tetrahydrocannabivarin. And some of the effects of this one, again, these are pretty specific, but it actually decreases your appetite, which is counterintuitive to what most people think of when you think of marijuana. But that's because it's only one part. There are other parts which do increase your appetite as well. It also does have calming effects, and it does have psychoactive elements, but it is the only other element other than THC that has a psychoactive element. Now, one other one that we mentioned is just straight up cannabinoid, CBN. That's one of the major groups that we talk about. What can you tell us about CBN versus THC?
CBN is actually one of the highest oils we got on Kushmark that will actually destroy brain tumors, and it's all good around.
Fantastic. So CBN is actually one of the ones that they focus on when they're distributing. It's something that they can actually specifically measure and will have specific effects as well. Some of which, not limited to, but including, this is going to have pain relief. This is going to be a sedative. This is actually going to help you sleep through the night. So let me put this in perspective for you. If you are eating something with a high CBN count right before you go to sleep, you're going to stay asleep for 6 to 8 hours. It's going to, bam, sedative effect. Third, it has the anti-inflammatory effect. This is what we were talking about with the weather changing, hot, cold, wind. Anti-inflammatory, CBN. Joints, makes you feel better. You don't need to take all this other crap. So we're going to go right around in the circle here. We're going to go to CBG. This is one that most people don't hear of, again, but it is another element. This is called cannabigerol. I've never heard of it myself. But I have heard, I was aware of the effects of it. What about yourself? I mean, this was a new one for me. Cannabigerol. Am I pronouncing that right, or?
Yeah. Problem? No, it's just it's all the cannabinoids meeting together. So to make all these effects, if you have all of those, that's your best. That's your best bet.
So it looks like this one, the cannabigerol, they've got listed specifically as anti-cancer agent on here. Cannabigerol. So that is probably one with a huge, very focus on this one. It's also got anti-inflammatory. I mean, you may not know this, but marijuana is huge for anti-inflammatory properties. Like in every way. You could rub it on yourself and it would make you swell less. The third one, they got pain relief. So really, this is medicinal. So the difference between a Schedule 1 drug and any other drug. A Schedule 1 drug has no medicinal value. Anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, anti-pain, and it cannot kill you.
And no side effects. Except having a good day.
So we've got two more on this list here that we're going to talk about at least, because I think that this is really important information to go through. Tetrahydrocannabinolic acid, THCA. So, again, this one is another type of THC, but this one is what's responsible for your food and your digestion. And so most acids, they help keep balance in your stomach when you have things off. And I'm assuming that's exactly what this does because it treats nausea. Now, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you know this, but I don't know if you guys know this or not. Nausea is one of the first reasons that they started giving marijuana to cancer patients was to treat the nausea so that they could eat. This one, the tetrahydrocannabinolic acid, increases your appetite and reduces your nausea. So, although they were giving this to cancer patients, say you got the common cold, where you just don't feel like eating and you're kind of sick to your stomach. Do you know what would really help? Something that doesn't make you sick to your stomach and makes you want to eat a little bit. So look up some tetrahydrocannabinolic acid. The third one, this also is anti-inflammatory. Great stuff. Most of these are anti-inflammatory. It's huge on anti-inflammatory. Great for arthritis. The last one that we're going to talk about, cannabidiol. Cannabidiol. CBD. This is the common one. So people just say CBD. Cannabidiol. 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 Sure, we're going to go with that. That one, why don't you tell us about that one a little bit to start and see if I'll finish her up here.
That one helps with cancer. CBD is found in hemp and in THC, but hemp has less THC, so that's why they call it. CBD is more in hemp, but it does come in a THC plant. And yeah, it has cancer values, but you need THC to kick the CBD into the cancer values they're finding out.
That makes a lot of sense. So he used a lot of words and terminology there, and I'm listening, I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense. So I'm going to explain this in terms of something that you guys would probably know everything. Say you've got an apple. You could take the apple and you could squeeze it, you could get all the juice out of it, and it would be apple juice, and it's technically pure and good or whatever, but it's very high in sugar, and if you drink it, it's going to just rush through you're going to get different effects than if you ate the apple. You're going to get the fiber with the apple, you're going to get the sugars, you're going to get... So the same thing with marijuana. You can process it, and you can force it to have just CBD and nothing else. But that might not be good. You might need to eat the apple to get the fiber to make this... You need the THC to make the CBD work. And as he was saying, you're absolutely right. This one is clearly listed. Anti-cancer agent as well. It's one of the two listed on this chart that are. CBD, anti-cancer agent. Cannabidiol. Now this one is also calming effects. So this is slightly different than sedative. This is anti-anxiety as opposed to anti-insomnia. I think that's the best way to describe it. So calming effects. This is anxiety fixing. And again, anti-inflammatory. So this stuff is really, really great stuff overall. So again, why don't we just give another little plug here to this brand new budding industry in Lethbridge.
The Green Team.
The Green Team. Green Team in Lethbridge.
Yeah. 317 17th Street South. Doctor's in between 3 and 6. Come on down and make your appointment.
Fantastic. So, why don't we talk about that process? Because, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are really interested in figuring out how that works. I mean, can anybody just walk in?
No. You have to have a prescription. So let's say you have a prescription for T3s. Why don't you bring in that bottle and it was valid? Valid for the year, this year I would say, then he would write you one. But people that come off the street that have no illness will not get a license.
Okay. So maybe here's another question. I'm 100% sure there are people out there who go out and have had, let's say, surgeries, and they get their prescription or whatever, but then they don't necessarily use their prescription. They perhaps self-medicate.
As long as they're on with Health Canada, they're good to go.
Okay, so what exactly does that mean with Health Canada?
Health Canada is where everybody registers, even your prescriptions you're getting from the doctor. So as soon as my doctor puts in that weed prescription, you're already registered with them, so they know it's not a scam.
Okay, so you can bring like a Tylenol prescription or some other type of drug prescription.
Yeah, or go to the pharmacy and get out your print out your prescriptions. Anything proving that you got an illness.
Bring it into the Green Team.
Yeah, we'll help you out, not a problem.
And so you'll just have to speak to the doctor between 3 and 6. Now,
between 3 and 6, and he'll tell you more about yourself than you ever knew.
Probably a very true thing. Now, let's say he goes, "Yep, you're qualified," or whatever he says. He goes, "Yeah, let's get you hooked up here." So then you register.
Yeah.
I assume. What process do you go through?
So we register in a computer. He registers with Health Canada, and then therefore you can go with any other dispensary. And if you want the Alberta dispensary ticket, all you got to do is go to the Aurora or whatever for Alberta, and as soon as you've already got diagnosed, so they just send you your license.
Okay.
So if you want a quick way to get there, it's a quick way to get there.
So what are some of the restrictions and limitations on this?
Restriction is I need cash, $150 cash, because nobody will give a weed dealer, or a weed store, I should say, an ATM for some reason.
Fair enough. So, and then once you're in the Health Canada system, that just means that you can purchase marijuana from any Health Canada approved marijuana dispensary or
yes.
Okay, and then so does that have any impact on any other sources you might have for marijuana?
Well, hopefully this will drive the street dealers down and out, hopefully, if there is anybody street dealing out there on weed.
So what you're saying is you're completely legal.
Yes.
100% legal.
And you can be legal too.
This is really, really good to know. So, how long did it take you to get through this whole process of becoming a legalized business?
7 months.
It's not even that bad. I mean, this is fantastic to know. So, presumably, you've got your marijuana card as well, then.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I've had it for 2 years now, 3.
So, why did you get yours?
For the burns.
So,
Basically, I just wanted to get off of all the meds and enjoy. You know, and the basic thing was is I couldn't feel pain because after you burn your skin off, there's no pain. So he enlightened me on all that, and he told me what to take, and now I'm starting to get a little feeling back.
Wow. So, because you've changed away from traditional medication and pain reduction, and you've actually started using this new medication, you're actually increasing your sensation again, and you're gaining back your feeling.
Yes.
I mean, that's incredible, but it totally makes sense too, considering that it does have an effect on your neurotransmitters. I assume that's kind of what's happening with you then.
Yep, for sure.
How would you explain, like, possibly the people here don't fully understand why it's an issue that you don't feel, or how you even are getting it back? And you can probably explain that a little bit better than most people would understand.
Well, the worst feeling is when you're in a store and you cut yourself, and you don't know you cut yourself, but you're bleeding, and everybody sees that. But yeah, so now when I cut myself, I can actually feel a little pain. So now I'm not leaking blood all over the store until somebody realizes that I'm bleeding, which I can't notice myself.
So, I mean, really, this is just a life-changing thing at this point, because it's a safety issue. You could be seriously injured and you wouldn't know it unless you could see it.
Unless it really stuck out, yeah.
Geesh, I mean, that's a crazy thing. Now, I mean, if it's both reducing your pain and increasing your feeling again, that seems like an incredible combination for one thing.
Yeah, put weight on. The doctor told me I was supposed to be on morphine for the rest of my life, and I might hit 120 pounds. Well, now I'm 300 pounds, and I'll never look back. I was supposed to be riding the system for the government, but I never did that.
No, you go out and get a job, and you're working and making something, and I mean, it's great, man. It's great. So there's a lot of other. It almost seems crazy that there's so many aspects of this one plant that are affecting everything. But one of the ones that I personally saw, like, just a ton of, and I looked into a lot, because these videos were incredible when I started seeing them, is children with seizures.
Yeah.
There is some. Look it up. Look up marijuana, seizures, children, whatever. But it has a crazy effective reduction of seizures. So, like, if you're in the middle of a seizure, you could be given some form of marijuana and your seizure will stop. And not only that, it stops them from happening as often. Like, markedly, significantly less. Have you what do you know about that?
I've been open a month. I've dealt with a lot of people getting off methadone with it. I've dealt with basically every kind of pain there was, them getting off of their pains. And they were not a client of ours, they were a client of the 420, but eventually they walk across the street.
Well, I mean, if it works, it works. And it works. Serious. So there's other things as well that this is going to help with. So far we've been naming some pretty crazy serious things like cancer, like we're going to regrow your brain or whatever. But what about just like everyday crap? Like, I mean, I know when I get my PMS. No, I'm joking, but for real. That's a totally valid thing that and I know several female friends that when they're not having the best time of the month, marijuana is what literally fixes everything. And like, this is a standard everyday once a month type of a medication, but it's no different than like Tylenol, which actually, if you look into Tylenol, there's some crazy stuff about. Anyways, I won't talk about that, but it's not as safe as you might think, being raised on it, like I was anyways, but Marijuana is really just an everyday thing that it's almost weird because I'm thinking about how many different ways that it's affecting and it's helping and it's making people better. So let's say, hypothetically, somebody had realized that marijuana did all this. You know, as they were just growing up, nothing to do with the government, nothing to do with doctors or whatever, but they're like, hey, I have these issues, and as I smoke marijuana, I get less anxious, and I sleep better, and, oh, hey, my pain is better, and I can eat whatever, and generally speaking, everything gets better when I use this particular substance, and so somebody did that. Let's say they've been doing that, and now they don't have those issues.
Yeah.
Would that mean that they would not be able to get approved because they don't have the issues because they've already been taking the medication?
Yeah, that for you'd have to waste the government's time, go back to the doctor, get a prescription to see the other doctor, just so you're registered in Health Canada. It's a rigmarole loop.
But we're still in the pretty early stages of this. This is a very, very new industry as well, so it might be a little difficult at first.
Yes, and being in town and being with us hooking you up with the dispensaries, there's a lot of weed in town that are coming off the streets that has a lot of other stuff stuck into it, like fentanyl and
that's
whatever.
The worst part.
And you don't want to be on that train.
I 100% agree. The most dangerous thing about marijuana is when it's not marijuana. That's what's dangerous, is when it's something else. If somebody put methadone into your marijuana, then it's dangerous. If somebody put any other drug into your marijuana, then it's dangerous.
Yeah.
But this guy can guarantee...
Yeah, it's all organic.
Everything. He can literally say, look, we've tested this. We can go through the specific list. We can say, hey, look, it's got this concentration of CBD and this concentration of THC. I'm guessing you can do this.
Oh, yeah.
He can do this. This is really important stuff if you're trying to make sure that you're not getting your, stuff off the street. And short of going to a doctor and literally having them test your blood, you're not really going to be able to get your drugs tested on a frequent enough basis to know if there's anything else in them. So, this is safe bets. Going through Health Canada is a safe bet, and Health Canada is approving it, and they're showing you how. Here's the guy. Why don't you plug yourself again? Where are you located in town?
We're located at 317 17th Street, South Lethbridge.
317 17th Street South. Lethbridge.
Right beside Doug Sports.
Right beside Doug Sports. Excellent. So, and you can stop in there, is it 7 days a week between 3 and 6?
Yep. Except Sunday.
So, Sundays are closed.
So,
but, between 3 and 6... Yes, it will. At least I will find you more attractive. Yes. Yes, it will get you a girlfriend as well. Isn't that right, Sandy?
That's right.
Absolutely. Yes, it will.
Be healthy enough to do something about it.
And the only thing that you need to concern yourself with is the length of time that you need to utilize it before it works.
That's right.
Because if you haven't got a girlfriend, you just gotta keep using it.
That's right. Use it harder.
Yeah, no, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong is the thing. It's not the marijuana's fault. So, speaking of marijuana, let's talk about I love this subject because you can literally just go like, "Hey, is there anything wrong with you?"
Yeah.
Oh, well, as it turns out, but maybe we shouldn't just praise it. There is some times when it's not appropriate. There are some people who are negatively impacted by it. Specifically, the worst things that I've heard are people who already are predisposed to things like psychosis, or schizophrenia specifically. Hardcore mental disorders that like run in your family and things like that. people who are genetically predisposed to them, if they smoke or eat or whatever marijuana, it has the effect of possibly onsetting it earlier than what would have normally happened. So they're one of the few people that I would say possibly don't. So if you are, or if you have a family history of psychosis, not psychosis, schizophrenia is the one. Schizophrenia. Or any underlying issue like that is onset later in life, that does have a possibility of onsetting earlier as one of the only complications. But then on the other hand, it reduces anxiety and reduces psychosis for 98% of the population.
Yes, and I'm not a doctor, but I'll tell you right now that even if you got problems like that, talk to my doctor. He'll tell you what to do, because the biggest goal is to get off the meds.
It's okay with medicine. What doctors do, at no point does a doctor measure your levels of anything.
No.
They don't check if your body is deficient in methadone. You don't have a methadone deficiency, so you need to have more methadone in your system. It's a guessing game. They go, this is an educated guess. Here's your issue. So this is the best tool that we have. And don't get me wrong, doctors aren't the bad guys here. They're very limited with their options. They haven't been able to touch this at all.
That's how they make their money.
Pharmaceutical industry controls the drugs that the doctors prescribe. You know, when you're watching TV, you see a commercial come on, and it says, "Tell your doctor."
Yeah.
At what point does that seem reasonable for you to tell your doctor what drugs you should be using? No, you go, "Hey, listen, I've got an issue.
Yeah.
Come and speak about your issue, and we're gonna go, okay, look." Well, not me specifically, but look, here's a list of issues, and this is what this is going to do for you. And depending on what concentrations and how we use it, and if you eat it or if you smoke it or if whatever.
Yeah.
And there's different ways to do all this stuff.
There's different ways to do it, and yeah, health is the number one key.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of seizures, we were talking about seizures earlier in children, but generally speaking, there's not one reason for seizures. Seizures can happen for a ton of different reasons. There's grand mal seizures or petite mal seizures. They can be caused by the brain. They can be caused by allergic reactions. They can be caused by some external influence. Like, there's a lot of reasons for seizures. But the seizures that are reduced by marijuana typically are associated with brain activity, which is calmed, but the same type of brain activity that you see in Parkinson patients. Now, would it strike you as crazy if I said marijuana treats Parkinson's symptoms?
Yes, it does.
It stops everything. Like, it does the same thing. And Alzheimer's. You can take brain scans of Alzheimer's patients, and it shows the black spots where it's not working. And it actually increases Alzheimer's patients' brain activity. Incredible stuff. Now, this is something you probably won't know about, because I did this completely separately, but when I was looking into how marijuana affected Alzheimer's, I was like, hey, those brain scans, I recognized those brain scans from a project I did into football. And you know what they looked like? Is the concussion injury brain scans. Alzheimer's and football brain scans. Now, You know what that means is if it's working for Alzheimer's, because it's working for schizophrenia or seizures, Alzheimer's, the same brain, and the exact same brain presents in other things like, say, boxing or other high-impact areas. Using the same treatment will yield the same results. You are going to have increased brain activity again. You're going to increase your neurotransmitters. You are actually going to make yourself smarter. You can't just sit around and stare at a wall all day, but literally, you actually probably could, and it probably would still help, now that I'm thinking about it, because the whole point is it's just forcing your brain to do more work.
Yeah, I'd say it's the inflammation.
Huge. Reducing inflammation, that makes a ton of sense. Inflammation all around your brain. If you can reduce your inflammation, you keep getting hit in the head and suddenly you're reducing your inflammation, you're not going to have as much brain damage. Again, this is totally just really, really standard stuff. Let's see what else we got here. Was there anything in particular that you wanted to go over? Because I know I'm pretty much covering everything, but maybe you had some specifics.
Well, I'll give you an idea about the doctor.
Yeah, let's talk about the doctor. Oh, what does that say? Can weed reverse my existing brain? Actually, yes, there is evidence that marijuana can reverse existing brain damage. You can look this up. In fact, I may end up posting some links later if I get around to researching it. But literally, just look it up. Look up marijuana brain damage, and maybe the word regeneration or reversal or something like that. It will totally be online. I've looked it up before. It's totally, go to Google. But what were you saying?
So what kind of doctor I got is he's been around it all his life. He's from Nelson, and he's probably gave out 50,000 licenses or more. Anyway, he's my daughter went in, seen him for ADD, and ADD he told her right off the bat is curable. 3 times a day, CBD, and all it is information in the brain. So the other doctor told her that she'd have to be on those ADD pills the rest of her life.
And no such luck, eh?
No, that my doctor says probably within 3 to 6 months she'll have no ADD left.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic.
Brain inflammation.
So, hey, interesting side note. I mean, you had your burns and your issues that totally went wrong, and you seem to be doing great. Like, I didn't even notice until you had to point it out to me, and I'm like, oh, wow, you must be doing something that's really working. But would you know if I didn't tell you that I was born legally blind? No. And I've had 5, 6 surgeries. I just had eye surgery in this eye September 7th.
Oh, pal. You're doing good.
Thank you, sir. Now, I of course, do everything that is required for my best health interests.
That's right.
Yes.
Probably information of the eyeball is probably what you need.
Specifically, if I were to just relate this back randomly for no particular reason to your business, as it turns out, marijuana is great for glaucoma and eye inflammation, and it's actually got antiseptic qualities as well, so it helps you fight bacteria. It really helps speed healing, anti-pain. Hypothetically, if I did have eye surgery, I would say it would be a great thing to use. Not smoking, however, because smoking causes coughing. Coughing is bad. Coughing, pressure, not great. But if you were to eat it, that would work really well. It would probably work for every surgery.
Yep. And it's organic weed, most of it, so you won't even hardly cough at all.
And that's a huge benefit too. And there's actually ways. Vaping. Not vaping. Let me cut my tongue off. No, vaporizers. Vaporizer.
Yeah.
Well, what a vaporizer is, it looks like you're smoking, but you're not. You're not. It's not actually. I mean, it's smoke, but it's not smoke. Why don't you explain what a vaporizer is? Why is a vaporizer slightly different than smoking?
Smoking is basically you're burning the whole plant. Vaping, you're just taking the CBDs and THC and the cannabinoids off the outside.
That's
Outside and bringing it down. And it's all about temperature.
That's an excellent way to describe that, actually. So when most people just smoke, say, like a joint, they take the plant matter, they break it up, they roll it into a stick, and they light it on fire, and that's it. And you smoke in all of it. You're breathing in plant matter. Now this plant matter is innately a lot of carbon, tar, which is not great. Because like breathing in a campfire is not great. You shouldn't breathe in plant matter. It's not great. But what a vaporizer does, it takes the same plant matter and heats it to the point just before combustion. Now, this still activates the appropriate CBD and THC and THCA and THCV and CBN and CBG, and that's all going to go to the correct receptors. So now you can get cheap ones. They're not great because you got to really control the temperature properly, and every different type of marijuana is going to have a different combustion point too. So you got to know kind of what you're doing as well. But if you are proficient, you can use a vaporizer. Great. You'll want to get a pretty nice one. Spend $200-300 on her, and I don't know anything about this. I have no idea what I'm talking about. But if you were to make something up like that, that would probably be what you would do to try to get the best results, I would say.
Yes, for sure.
Hypothetically, do you know anything about, do you have vaporizers actually?
No, we're doing a bunch of research on now, bringing the best one, the lowest maintenance.
Let me, I will be sure to provide my absolutely baseless opinion and possibly assist you to the best of my ability here.
Because I don't want a lot of them, I just want the best.
There's no point in having a lot. You just need literally the best. Why would you get anything other than the best? You'd be like, listen, dude, here's something other than the best, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. No, I don't want to waste your money. I want to fix your problems. Let me fix your problems. And there's only one way to do it, and it's doing it right. I agree 100%. We are getting really hanging on here. We are doing great for time, man.
Excellent.
Why don't you plug yourself again here? Think about anything else we might want to chat about, and we'll probably be wrapping this up pretty quickly, I'd say. And again, we're on jessfm.ca live currently. You guys are on YouTube, but I'm also I'm sharing it to Facebook. So hopefully you're seeing it there too. And this, Sandy.
Yes, from the Green Team.
Sandy from the Green Team.
317 7th Street, South Lethbridge.
Yeah. And so this is a really, really exciting opportunity for a lot of people that have some serious issues here, and I think that this is really going to be beneficial. Why don't we let you close off with whatever you'd like to shout out there, man?
Let's get healthy.
Hey, let's get healthy. That sounds like a great idea. Thanks for the information from Sean Haar. Why don't you? Hey, you know what, Sean Haar, you are most welcome.
Thank you.
All right.
You guys enjoy your day.
With that, we're gonna click finish. And
I got more appointments till 6.
More appointments till 6, even today. I mean, You see what time it is right now? It's 2. Yeah, it's 2 o'clock.
So
There's
3 to 6. Rush on down there.
Literally, right now, you could pick up your phone. You could call the Green Team in Lethbridge and make an appointment to see their doctor because they're actually there's appointments right now. Hell, you know what?
They'll have to come in.
All right, guys. We will see you next week on the Info Assault. As long as I find somebody I want to interview or who wants to come onto the show. It should be fine, though. It'll be all right. Other than that, thanks for watching, and we will see you later. Have a great day.